Get everything set up here.
Oh, I need the ball.
Yes, we're going to be
Do I
doing
need
some stability ball stuff. So,
Do I need this ball you sit on, or?
yes, if you have one of these. And again, if you don't have one, that's okay. Since we're going to be recording this one to put on YouTube, I'm going to try to do a combination where I primarily focus on the stability ball, but I'm also going to show you how you can accomplish the same exercise with body weight. So, you know, I'm going to spend most of my time though focusing on what you can use the stability ball for, how you can still get a great workout. Even though it doesn't weigh that much, you can actually use it as some sort of resistance for a couple exercises. But yeah, it'll be something that you, Donna, will see more of in the coming time that you have left with us. So everybody else that's joining us, what you're going to need today is a stability ball. And if you have dumbbells that you would like to use, you can use water bottles like Monica shows in her videos. These are going to come in handy for quite a few of the exercises. I'm going to be using slightly heavier ones, so it's up to you to determine how much resistance you want. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to be doing a full body workout using a stability ball, talk briefly about what kind of things it can be useful for and how you can utilize it. But then we're really going to make sure we get you know, less time talking and more time actually working out today. So if you're ready, go ahead and grab your stability ball. I'm going to clear my floor here. So, and again, I've mentioned this before, but these stability balls come in all different sizes, and you know, it's up to the individual to pick what, you know, if they only want one ball, because they do take up a lot of space. That is one of the concerns. And if you've ever put one on the floor and you've watched, it kind of just rolls off on its own just because they're not perfectly weight distributed. So they do take up some space, and some people really don't want to have a whole bunch of different varieties, and it gets tough and becomes a pain to constantly inflate them, deflate them. So if you're just going to pick one stability ball, you know, they come in, they usually say in metric how big they are, 53 centimeters or something to that degree. My suggestion is, you know, really want to try to figure out what size is going to be the most applicable for everything I'm going to do with it. So I would suggest one of the best ways to do that is to take a chair and, you know, figure out where do I need the ball to primarily be. And if you'll get to where you can see when you sit in a chair height, the ideal chair height is where your femur here is parallel to the floor. And so with the cushion and everything on there, you might have a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but ideally when you buy a chair, you want it to be where your knee could stay at 90 degrees, feet flat on the floor, and your femurs parallel to the floor. And then you'll just get your tape measure, and you're going to measure that. And my suggestion is, because when you sit on the ball, it's going to compress a little bit, is take whatever the height is of your chair and add 50%. So mine was 18 inches, so I'll add 50% of that is 9. So that gives me right up to 27 inches, which is, you know, a little bit over 60, this is 69 inches, or centimeters for me. And if you'll see, that's pretty much right where I have on my stability ball. So that's just how you can, you know, really try to figure out what is going to be the best, you know, size for you, for your all-around use. Most of the exercise you do with it is going to have you sitting on it. It's going to involve, like I said, sitting on it. And then you've got to make sure that, again, you fill it with as much air as you need necessary, so that when you sit down on it, you're not quite, but almost in the same position as if you were sitting in a regular dining room chair, for instance. Okay? All right. So one of the first things I like to do is, again, those of you who have watched my videos I love the importance of a squat, okay? They add, you know, the entire body gets involved when doing squats. And, you know, we do them with body weight quite a bit. You know, we're using our arms as that little bit of counterbalance to make sure that when we do a squat, we're sitting back properly. But involving a stability ball, though it doesn't weigh that much, is really a great way to add just a little bit of challenge for our core to really engage when we're doing a squat. So I'm going to clear my ceiling here, make sure I have enough room for this. We're going to take the stability ball, and you can hold it out in front of you, or you can hold it up overhead when we do these squats, okay? So we're going to go for a set of 12 today. You don't have to use your stability ball if you don't want to. This is just a higher intensity, more difficult, more challenging body weight squat. I'm going to go down and up. Notice I'm keeping it up overhead as much as possible, sitting back. You can hold the ball out in front of you if you need a little bit of extra forward balance to really help you sit back. Or if you have the space available, we're going to go right over here to the wall. Start with the ball right in the middle of your lower back. Walk our feet out, shoulder width apart, and just slightly press back and hold that ball against the wall. Halfway there. 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 more. 11, 12. All right. Moving on to the hamstrings. We got to really try to think outside the box here when we try to do our hamstrings. Now I'm again going to have to readjust so we can see. To really get the hamstrings involved, we're going to lay down on the floor. We're going to put our feet up on the ball. I like to take my hands palms down, head rested back. And you want to pull the ball to where it's right up underneath between the ball of your foot here, the heel of your foot here, and the calf. Find a nice and stable position. And what we're going to do, the lightest intensity, is keeping your back flat and just pulling the ball towards you. Fully extending. You can start to drive your heels down into the ball, try to compress it just a little bit. And if you want to crank up that intensity, we're going to bridge our butt up off the floor just a little bit. Okay? You can go all the way up if you prefer. That's a high intensity, very challenging. Or you can just do it a little bit. 5 more. 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax. All right. Now we're going to get those hips involved, okay? And get that rear kinetic chain, get those glutes activated. We're going to sit on the ball and roll down, okay? And where we're going to get is where the ball is between our shoulder blades. You can rest your head on the back of the ball if you want to. Hips are down low. Feet are flat on the floor, nice and shoulder width or wider if you prefer. And we're going to bridge up, okay, to get a straight line between the hips, the shoulders, and the knees. Drive those heels into the ground. Exhale. Seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, one more, 12. Here we go, roll it back. All right. Now I'm going to show two different versions of core exercises we can do with the stability ball. Now, one of which we can do if we're sitting on top, and the other one we're going to do on the floor. So I'm going to start with the one on the floor, and then we're going to progress back to the other one. So if you have the stability ball and you lay it back on the floor, what we're going to do, get where we can see here, is we're going to squeeze the ball with our feet, and we're going to use our hands, okay? So we're going to pull the ball up with our feet and extend down all the way up. Squeeze with our feet all the way down. And you'll notice this one's a very high intensity. If you want to bend your knees and pull it up, you can do that as well. Two more. And relax. Now, if you've tried that one, you don't have to alternate the ball between your hands and your feet. You can just hold the ball if you would like. And again, extending your legs is going to bring a little bit more intensity. Some people might just hold the ball overhead as they're bringing their knees up and putting them back down. That is up to each individual. If you want to start more challenging, more stretched out, and as you get a little fatigued and starts to burn, you can kind of compress in, pull more your knees up instead of your legs extended. That is up to you. With the next one, the other core exercise we're going to do, I've done this one before. You're only going to need one dumbbell for most people. If you want to use a little bit extra resistance, you can grab two or just grab a heavier single dumbbell. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate just with the one. What we're going to do, start sitting on the ball, and then we're going to roll back down. And we're going to keep, our glutes engaged to some degree. Okay, we don't want to be completely vertical, and we don't want to be horizontal either. So we're going to get about 45 degrees, feet nice and wide, and grab that dumbbell, and we're going to rotate. Okay. Feel that trunk twist. You might want to keep your eyes focused on the ceiling. Pick one spot. Feel that core engage as you twist. Now, if you want to get a little bit closer, that can help back down some of the intensity. You don't have to use a dumbbell at all either. You could just use your hands. If you need to reset, you can. The ball might have a tendency sometimes to roll if your clothes don't stay put. Do 4 more. 3, 2, 1. Recover. Excellent. All right. Next exercise. Again, we're going to get off the ball for this one. Back on the floor. If you want carpeted floor or use an exercise mat, something to help with the pressure on the knees, we're going to work that lower back. okay? And we're gonna do our best to try to engage as much as we can from the upper traps all the way down to our hips. Start with the ball nice and snug, tight up against us. Kind of wrap your body around the ball, arms extended, and then we're just gonna extend up. Two more. And relax. All right. Now moving on into chest press. If you can grab those dumbbells, okay, you're gonna want 2 for this one. Now I'm gonna show 2 different versions that we can do here, okay? And the reason why is because what the stability ball is really gonna effectively do is it's gonna give you a minimally stable platform to operate off of, to work out with. So, you know, sitting on it, you can feel that it has some give and it has some roll tendency, but it also has a small element of stability. Now, if you're on the floor, obviously that's not going anywhere, but what we're gonna do is use our core to activate and actively engage our feet, our core, along with the stability ball in order to give us that solid foundation, okay? And that's why having one of these can be an excellent piece of equipment, very inexpensive, $10, $15, maybe even $20 for some of certain brands. But really they're an inexpensive way to add that component of, you know, instability, if you will, so that you can activate more muscles. So to make this more challenging for this next one, we're gonna start with just your regular chest press, okay? You know, 2 dumbbells, water bottles. You can use if you have a body bar at home, you can use a flat body bar as well for this one, okay? We're gonna start with the dumbbells. You can do it one of 2 ways. You can either pick them up and get them close to your chest and then walk down, or you can start with them on the floor next to you, roll down into position, and then curl them up, okay? Whichever one you feel more comfortable doing. All right, so we're going to extend those hips to get that torso flat, and then we're going to begin our chest press. Engage that core, deep breath, pull the tummy in, and begin. Nice and controlled. Eight, 9, 10, 11, one more, and 12. And relax. Okay, I'm going to give you just a brief minute to catch your breath and recover from that one. And then we're going to go into the more challenging dumbbell chest press. We're going to use both dumbbells again. However, instead of doing both arms at the same time, we're going to use one at a time, okay? We want to, again, control the dumbbells. That's a big key component to this, okay? If you're unfamiliar with doing chest press with dumbbells, it can be a little unstable. This is probably going to be a little bit more advanced, someone who's been doing this before and feels comfortable moving forward. You can do the same exercise in the floor with dumbbells. You can do it if you have a bench to lay on. You can use the bench and do the same exercise without the stability ball. But again, this may be a little bit more advanced, and you know, we want to focus on our technique. We want to make sure that we don't overstep where we don't feel comfortable, okay? All right. So with this exercise, we're going to begin with the same positioning as we did with the last. Start with both dumbbells up instead of down, and then we'll begin single arm chest press, okay? Inhale, exhale. It's halfway there. I hear someone breathing. That's good. Keep it going. Last two. And relax. Excellent. All right. Now, I'm going to take a break from the chest press. And normally we would go into a, if you're still sitting in the ball, you might want to go into the overhead press. I like to give those muscles some time to relax. Since we just did an upper body pressing exercise, we use some of the shoulders on that exercise. Might want to come back to the overhead press, which I'll show you in just a bit. But what we're going to do now is go into a single arm row, okay? So we're working the opposite musculature. Now, as a general rule, we would say use something that's stable like a counter or the back of a sturdy chair to do your single arm rows. Stagger your stance to give yourself a good solid platform. However, if you're ready for the next challenge, okay, you can use the stability ball as your platform. Now, again, I say err on the side of caution. If you're not comfortable with this, this is a little bit more advanced. We're going to do the same body positioning. However, we're going to have an unstable platform here to place our hand on. So I really want to emphasize, again, we want to protect our lower back, okay? So using one dumbbell, okay? Normally I would say we need to stagger our stance forward and back, but for this one, we're going to have our feet a little bit wider than shoulder width. They're going to be side by side, okay? And then we're going to do the single arm row, keeping our back flat, dumbbell directly below us, pulling it up towards our side. Two more. And relax. Notice my knees are bent, okay? We don't want to stand here with our knees locked out. And the reason for that is when we lock our knees out, we have a tendency to put all that stress directly into our lower back. We want to let our glutes, let the muscles of the glutes and the hamstrings and the calves, let all of those muscles take some of that pressure off the back. Simply by unlocking the knees, giving yourself that loading in the rear kinetic chain, the hamstrings, the glutes, we can actively take the pressure from the back, engage more of our core, and get those other muscles involved in the exercise. Going to the other side and begin. Two more. And relax. All right. Last exercise. Overhead press. Okay. Start with the dumbbells in a balanced position, feet nice and wide. Sit nice and tall. Get those dumbbells up to right beside our ears, sitting tall, pull that tummy in, deep breath, and begin. Control that weight. Eight, 9, 10, 2 more, 11, and 12. And relax. All right. Roll those shoulders. I would like to close up today with a little bit of stretching. We can use the stability ball not only for body weight exercise, we can use it for dumbbell exercises, core work, but we can also use it to help us stretch, okay? And my favorite thing to stretch with the stability ball is my back, okay? I have a tendency sometimes to hold a little bit of, especially in a time like this, we have a little bit of stress that we need to really work on by releasing some of that muscle tension. So using a stability ball can really help with that, okay? So I'm gonna start with a couple exercises that we're going to stretch with the upper body, and then we're going to stretch the lower body at the end, okay? So to begin with, I like to do in the same position as we were doing our back exercises, pull that ball in nice and tight, tuck our tummy to it, and instead of actually actively engaging our back to sit up, we're just going to hug the ball, okay? And then with your feet, press your feet into the floor to kind of roll that tension into the lower back. And try to relax. Try to let weight pull you into the stability ball. And relax. Next, we're going to stretch out those lats, okay? Any kind of pulling exercise like that single arm row, we're really actively engaging our lats. So we want to make sure we stretch that out as well. So in the same position, instead of the ball being tucked, we're going to start with the ball out in front of us as far as we can hold it with our hands. Spread our hands a little bit wider than we normally would. So we want them about shoulder width. And then we're just going to roll our chest down flat. You ought to feel that stretch right there. And relax. All right. Next, we're going to move into some more of our side stretches. Sitting up nice and tall, reaching up and across. Now you notice my feet are nice and wide, and I've actually kind of tucked them back against the ball. And what that does is it makes that stability ball just a little bit more stable. It kind of gives them anchor points. Reach across. And relax. Other side. And relax. All right. Clear a little bit of room here. Going into the hamstrings. Now to start with this hamstring, instead of sitting all the way up on top, You can start in that position, give yourself a little bit of room, because what we're going to do is we're actually going to kind of roll forward on the ball a little bit, so you start to feel that ball positioned a little bit further behind you. I'll go sideways here so that everyone can see. Kind of roll towards that front a little bit. And then we're going to extend one leg, okay? You're going to get far enough that you can almost put your hand on the floor, okay? Taking our opposite arm, so I've got my right leg extended, I'm going to take my left arm and reach towards that toe. Now, if you don't want to put your hand on the floor, you feel more comfortable sitting on top, you can do the same hamstring stretch as we do before, as we do sitting in a chair. Now, I've mentioned this before with the hamstrings. The hamstrings are a very big, large muscle, okay? You can relax. The muscle actually goes, from below our knee and all the way up above our hip. So to really get the entire hamstring stretched, we need to stretch it in a couple different ways. One is with our knee completely locked out, and if you start to stretch, you'll feel that kind of lower on the hamstring. However, if you want to get the upper part of the hamstring, that's where that stability ball can come in handy, because it allows us to have that instant pliability in shifting our position. So we may start with our legs completely stretched out, but then if we just slightly unlock the knee, notice it's not 180 degrees, it's more like about 170, 160 degree angle at our knee here. Now we can really reach out, and you'll feel that hamstring higher up get stretched. Sink that chest right over that knee. And relax. And again, you can do that exact same stretch in a chair. I just find the ability with the ball instantly able to shift from fully extended to unlock the knee, get that higher hamstring position stretched. Other side, start the leg extended and reach. And just to demonstrate, I'm going to go from the fully extended leg, stretching that lower hamstring, to just unlock that knee just a little bit and sink that chest even lower. And relax. All right. Last exercise, going to stretch those shoulders out. Bring that arm across. Relax. Overhead, we can stretch it one more time. And relax. Other side. Cross. Relax. And back. And relax. All right. So just like all other suggestions that we make with our strength training, you know, we really encourage you to do one full set of everything first. And then if you're trying to stick to that 20 minutes, then if you have that extra time, you can try to start and go through it again. Again, we're focusing primarily on knee osteoarthritis, but the truth is we want to try to engage as much muscle as we can from head to toe, get as much of a good full body workout as we can. And one of the beauty that I love about the stability ball is it adds that extra element of stability or need to stabilize, that you can use all those little muscles that most of the time don't get activated. So if you don't have one of these at home, it is certainly a piece of equipment that I think if you want to would be a great investment. And you can use this any way you see fit, either as a weight itself or as a platform to work off of. So, you know, it's up to the individual. You can try all different ways to, like I did with the squats, I used the ball as a weight above head. I used it out in front of me as a counterbalance. And then I used it as a stability platform on the wall as well. It's up to the individual, but it's, again, a great piece of equipment if you really put your thinking cap on and think how you can activate different muscles and put yourself in an unstable position. But again, as always, we want to be careful. So make sure you don't press your limits too far. Use the ball in any way that you feel comfortable using. So I'm going to open it up for any questions that anyone has. I'd be happy to demonstrate how you can use the equipment for any specific area that you'd like to target. So